Hello, friends.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Gaurav. Good evening, Khushboo. So good to see all of you.
Nice to see you too.
Good evening. Hi.
How are you doing? We've got friends coming in just now and then to attend this webinar. Let me start welcoming them.
Yeah.
We've got Pramodji, Fareen, Deepika. Oh, Deepika's here. Wonderful. Zeena, Swapna, Puneet, Ravi, Lalit. Hello, Deepika. How are you? All good? And there are more people joining in. Let me do an update. Neeraj, Ravi, quite a few people. And Usha ji is also here. Welcome, Usha ji. Welcome, Brian. Welcome, Swapna ji. And Parag ji, Ravi Kumar. Welcome, friends. So, friends, let me set the context for this webinar. It's we've been listening to Sonam Wangchuk for some time now. Recently, he's been talking about the situation, which is not very good in Ladakh because of the climate change and the amount of development that's happening there and various other issues. That's not going to stop people from going there. The floodgates have opened, and there are people who are going there in a large number, which is threatening the ecology of that place. And we will be traveling to these places again and again for wildlife, for natural history, for photography, for everything. But maybe in its attempt to sort of be more responsible as we go along, and we understand how to tread softly in that landscape, how to make it more meaningful for ourselves and for other people. So I've got two friends here who are also my colleagues in Asian Adventures to help me out with this webinar. All three of us photographers, and I'm a small photographer, and there is one professional photographer, and there is one medium-sized photographer who's an ecologist and who loves to take photos because he wants to record good stuff. So this is about photographing, Ladakh ethically, with responsibility when you go there. So there are many issues that we'll be discussing: how to be an ecotourist, how to look at your photography, what to do, what not to do. And we'll also be talking to you about certain landscapes that we will be traversing in the next few months. So let me start with this slideshow, and then we'll also introduce ourselves as we go along. Okay. So this is the starting slide. I hope it's all visible and I'm audible properly. If I am, could you say yes in the chat box so I know that you can hear me well and you can see the slideshow, the beginning of the slideshow. Yeah. I'll wait for you to say yes. The moment you write yes, I'll proceed to the next one. Gaurav, is it visible to you? Okay, great. So Brian says yes, which means that you're reaching out to people. Thank you. Thank you very much, friends. Thank you. So a bit about me. I am Mohit Aggarwal. I am blessed with 4 children, 2 humans, and one of them is a Labrador and the other one is an African grey. And both of them are sort of escapees, and they've fallen into my lap, and I've been looking after them. And I've got 1 son and 1 daughter. I'm a follower of Lord Shiva. Professionally, I'm an experiential ecotourism specialist with a deep love for nature. I help people travel to some wonderful places in Asia. I'm on the board of Asian Ecotourism Network, and I've been trained by GSTC in sustainable tourism. I'm the founder of Asian Adventures, which is now going to complete 29 years of operations, and it's taught me a lot. And we've grown to be the number one and the largest ground operators for bird watching. I'm also the founder of Natinator. Natinator helps eco-centric companies scale up their business, which nurtured Mother Earth. And this company is on a mission to save Asian elephants' corridors, free the Himalayas of plastic waste, and conserve ancient Himalayan temples. And also we help small wildlife NGOs and other NGOs. So that's sharing information. And over to Gaurav quickly to introduce himself.
Namaste everyone, my name is Gaurav Nalkur. I'm an avid bird watcher. I have a deep love for nature, and I'm a strong believer in using wildlife tourism to raise awareness and help conservation causes. Professionally, I'm training to be an ecotourism specialist, especially to work with community tourism stakeholders. Educationally, I'm qualified as a wildlife biologist, especially with bird behavior. And so far, I've worked on urban bird diversity, giant squirrels in the Western Ghats, and bird niches in the Himalayas. For the last 4 years, I've been lucky to work with Mohit and Asian Adventures, both of whom share my goal of using wildlife tourism as a means of helping save the natural world.
Wonderful. And over to Khushboo.
Hello, everybody. Hi, good evening. I'm Khushboo Jain. I'm a passionate photographer. I've put my heart and soul to photographing the charismatic wild species. For me, photography is the language through which I express my love for nature. And it's like an unstoppable force which has dragged me into various forests and returned back home with abundant knowledge every time. My hard work has been rewarded, thankfully, and my work has been featured on different various platforms as well, including the galleries and the exhibitions. My goal is to make everyone fall in love with nature, and as I feel people strongly preserve the things that they love. I'm on a mission to sow the seeds of conservation in the hearts and minds of people. Thank you.
That's wonderful. So there are two organizations that we partner with, and I must talk about them. One is Asian Ecotourism Network, of which I'm a board member. Asian Ecotourism Network is a network of people from 37 countries and 21 board members. And this particular platform allows you to access their knowledge for accommodation standards, how to be ecocentric, how to be eco-friendly. And if you adopt these standards, then you'll be certified by Asian Ecotourism Network. And Asian Ecotourism Network has been recognized by GSTC, that's Global Sustainable Tourism Council. So if you're a homestay owner, then you got to be a member of Asian Ecotourism Network, because then you can run your homestay in a more sustainable manner, which will affect the environment around you, and your social and cultural values will remain intact. Similar kind of work is being done for the communities at a much larger scale by Planetera. They have 253 projects in 70 different countries, and they have evolved and set SOPs, standard operating procedures, for communities to adopt, and it's all for free. So if there's a community that wants to delve into ecotourism and sustainability, so then Planetera is the place to go to. These people will help you, will train you, will give you all the framework, the SOPs to move on with your mission. So that's about these two organizations. Now, let me tell you something about tourism in Ladakh. I've been going to Ladakh since 35 years, and it's completely changed. There's so much development, there's so much modernization. and of course we can't stop any of that. But it's also seen depletion of cultural values, traditions, and various other things. Anyway, I'm not here to talk only about the negative part. That we all understand that, but it's growing. This revenge tourism has put Ladakh as the hotspot for tourists, and there are many other factors which have contributed to that. The number of flights have increased, the accessibility has improved, and many such factors. So it gives you camping opportunities, wildlife, cultural insights. Um, it's very beautiful, but very, very fragile, very sensitive ecosystem. It may look that, with jagged peaks and rugged terrain, but it's very sensitive. Every inch that you go to has something to offer you. There's life in there, and which is why we got to be extremely careful when we go to Ladakh. What is it that we're doing? Why we are doing what we're doing? And how to get the most of it while we're there without harming anything as we go along. So tourism plays a significant role in Ladakh's economy today because a whole lot of youngsters are involved in tourism. And earlier, there were only few hotels in Ladakh, but the moment you leave the airport and right till till the end, where you can see there are only hotels. There are just hotels mushrooming everywhere. So people, of course, are investing. The local people are investing in tourism in a very big way. But it's our responsibility to make the right selection and educate and know about it while they teach us their value systems. Their wisdom is far greater than ours. And I tell people that if we have to go to Ladakh, we don't have to take Delhi and Bombay with us. Let's just be in Ladakh. If we go to a forest, let's say if we go to Corbett National Park, we don't have to take Delhi with us, but we do. So we want swimming pools, we want pool tables, we want discotheques, we want all of that. And now places like Corbett are turning into wedding destinations, and that's scary. So tourists are encouraged to respect local culture, tradition to minimize the impact on environment. So that's some of the sites that you can see. Snow leopard tourism is become very famous, and that's one reason snow leopard conservancies have done a great job. And this cat has made a comeback. The world focus is on this cat and how it'll survive. And then we've got very sensitive ecosystem like lakes, and then we've got cultural value systems and dances and people and the way of being. It's just endless. So, what are the drawbacks of tourism? Is that something that Gaurav you want to take on now?
Yeah, sure. I'll talk about that. As Mohit mentioned, unfortunately, Ladakh is seeing this huge wave of travelers that are going there. Growing popularity, especially those of. I remember that after the movie Three Idiots came out, Ladakh became, a huge hotspot, and everybody wanted to go there. So it's led to a lot of crowding, especially around the lakes that are featured in movies, or people have seen photos of. Everybody wants to visit there, and everybody wants a selfie at that place. And with that, you have the usual problems that come. People don't respect cultural boundaries. People are disturbing a very fragile ecosystem as it is. And then there's the whole, everybody wants to have a pack of Maggie in Ladakh, so that's leading to litter, with disposable coffee cups, disposable chai cups, the Maggie packets, or somebody having biscuits and all that. There's a big increase in litter that, really takes out the natural beauty of the place. And, with Ladakh is fragile not only environmentally but culturally as well. And as Mohit mentioned before, everybody who goes there doesn't want to be, they just want to be in Ladakh, but they want all the comforts of home. They want a swimming pool. They want all modern facilities. Nobody wants to stay in an authentic homestay. Everybody wants a posh five-star resort, and this leads to a lot of unnecessary, I would say, so-called development. That it's not really development in a way. I think it's going backwards, but a lot of people seem to want that. And we've seen a whole lot of places, whether it's our cities or whether it's wildlife places, that have become literal garbage dumps thanks to tourist litter. And I hope that you agree with me that Ladakh should not turn out like this. It is a place that is so beautiful already. uh, Ladakh's ecology, like its culture, is one that's really delicate. It's one that's easily disturbed. And the thing about ecology is, even the smallest action has great consequences as it cascades down. Uh, for example, off-roading groups, whether it's 4x4s and motorcycles, many of them drive irresponsibly. Ladakh has a lot of, with the lack of trees, a lot of birds and mammals are ground dwelling in Ladakh, and a lot of them nest on the ground. A lot of birds nest on the ground. And when you drive irresponsibly, you could drive over nests, you could disturb this habitat. I'm not entirely against, a road trip to Ladakh or a motorcycle trip. I think it's a beautiful place for a road trip, but it can be done responsibly. It can be done in a sustainable manner as well. And while there are a few travelers who travel and behave responsibly, the majority of them do not. And a lot of unethical photography also happens there. Things like baiting, luring animals, or venturing too close and disturbing them. This leads to great disturbances in an animal or bird's behavior. So mountain roads especially are really prone to traffic jams due to their narrowness, and you can't really overtake. And Ladakh and a lot of places have seen this, especially with, and this has led to landslides and a lot of crowding and as well. So how can ecotourism help? I'm not saying ecotourism is the only solution, but it is one that can greatly help. So this can help, uh, you know, it can help give more authentic experiences to travelers. Things like homestays or taking part in sustainable activities. This will help people appreciate Ladakhi culture more, and they'd want to experience those things rather than have five-star rooms and swimming pools and like a disco, as Mohit mentioned. It can also help better the economic condition of locals in a good way. They don't have to rely on selling Maggie or, give me this much money and I'll take you this close to a snow leopard. Those are really unsustainable means, and they're not friendly to the environment or culture at all. So something like a homestay or even a local ground tour operator, this would be a great way for them to not only better their economic condition, but also showcase their own culture and you know the beauty of Ladakh. And eventually, we hope that this will help create a breed of ecotourists and responsible tour operators who will help promote sustainable and responsible travel further. Even monasteries that are so beautiful are really fragile. A lot of these monasteries are really old. You may think that they're very strong, judging by their, and they are, but irresponsible behavior can lead to stone erosion. It can lead people disrespecting. Believe there was a case in Bhutan a few years back where people were climbing on stupas and things like that. So a lot of irresponsible behavior is a major problem in Ladakh. Uh, Local homestays, like I mentioned, can help a lot. I think Mohit will be able to better explain this section.
Thanks, Gaurav. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
So local homestays is a ren basera, to be able to know everything about that destination and to be able to connect with people, with traditions, with art, with culture, with architecture, with clothing, food, it's a homestay. That's where you got to stay. You go stay in a hotel, you check-in counter, give your passport, and you walk in, and you say, "Where's hot water? Where is my, where the toilet paper? And what am I going to get? I'm going to get butter paneer masala, and I'm going to get a dosa with sambar in it." It doesn't serve your purpose. It doesn't serve the purpose of an ecotourist. But when you go to a homestay, you bow down, you follow the tradition, you have respect, you have love, and that's what you're getting from them all the time. And you forget about your own identity, and you go and merge with the energy of that house. Every inch of that house will start talking to you. If you haven't done that before, go do it. You'll sit there in the evening, you will sing with them, you'll have local chung, you'll understand the older women are wearing those large skirts which keep them warm, and they'll talk about their experiences, what happened 50 years ago, 100 years ago, how they lived, how things used to be, how they used to trade in salt or other items, how the Tibetans used to come across and how they used to carry their goods or other things to Srinagar or to Jammu. And there are millions of these stories that you'd be able to enjoy, and you'll have goosebumps because you would have never ever known these things otherwise, and they're coming from their personal experiences, which you're not going to hear if you stay in a hotel, because hotel is a hotel. So the homestay will give you authentic experience. You sit in the central hall where there's bukhari, and there is there's hot oven, and there's rice being cooked, and there are authentic spices, and there could be any sort of local meat that they've stored, and they will be able to share it with you. But now you go to a hotel or you go to a homestay which has been created to serve you, then they will serve you butter paneer masala. Now, is that what you want? If that's what you want, I'm sure you can get it somewhere in Delhi, in Moti Mahal or one of these places. You have to go all the way to Ladakh to do that. The point here I'm trying to bring home is, friends, that when we go and appreciate what they are giving us, they have a reason to keep that alive. They know that you're coming for that, and they will not try to change it. They will keep the authenticity going, and their roots are connected with that authenticity. So that's my reaction to when people say, why a homestay and why not a hotel? And that's what I have experienced, and that's what I want to share, that there's greater wisdom in learning how they live so sustainably, how beautifully. And they've got far more ways of ensuring livelihood than you do. So, because we're so used to these malls going and picking up things, and we have no clue where it's coming from. And these people grow everything. The toilets, they turn all the excreta into manure, and that's what they use in the fields. And I remember I was about 25 years ago, I was in Rumbak, and I was staying in somebody's house. Early morning, I woke up and I saw one girl on the terrace doing yoga, and she was doing hatha yoga. And it was so surprising. How would they know about hatha yoga? They know hatha yoga because it's hundreds of years of ancient culture, and it's yogic culture. So they know a lot more. So when Buddhism happened, I believe that one part of Buddhism entered Lhasa from the Ladakh side, and the other one from the northeast side. And the one that entered from the Ladakh side had tantric values to it. So there's a lot of depth in those sort of knowledge dimensions which you can get. But can you get that in a hotel? You can't. So now these are crumbling, and you'd see that there are modern hotels coming up. But find these places and let's go ahead and patronize these, because if they have the money, they know how to repair these places. If they have the money, they know that these are the things to keep to keep them alive, and not go for the modern ones. Okay, so I have spoken about this. Let me just quickly. May I play a video for you, if you're okay with that? Can I quickly play a video? So I met this lady while I was coming back from one place, and she was cleaning up with the village people, and I filmed her, and she let me do that, and I want to show that to you.
Can I start? Yeah. Hi, hello everyone. My name is Lupsang. I work as a Panchayat Secretary in Rural Development Department. So आज हमारा एक ये गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से एक इनिशिएटिव आया है स्वच्छता ही सेवा। ये जो इनिशिएटिव है इसमें हम क्या करते हैं कि हर एक गांव में जो पंचायत है उसमें हम लोग सफाई करवाते हैं लोगों से। तो ये इनिशिएटिव जो है वो हमारा 15 सितंबर से लेके 2 अक्टूबर तक चलेगा। तो आज मैं अपने पंचायत में, ये फरका पंचायत है, ले ब्लॉक में आता है, वहाँ पे मैं अभी हमारा ये कैंपेन चल रहा है, जहाँ पे हम अपने सराउंडिंग्स के और अपने इर्द गिर्द जो भी है हम इसका सफाई करवाते हैं लोगों से। एज इन लाइक जो भी हमारे विलेजेस है वो खुद आते हैं और खुद हम यहाँ पे सफाई करते हैं, और उसके बाद हम इसको सेग्रीगेट करते हैं, और सेग्रीगेट करने के बाद हम इसको, हमारा एक सेग्रीगेशन सेंटर है तो वहाँ पे लेके जाते हैं इसको। सो ये जो गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से ये जो कैंपेन चला है, आई थिंक इट्स अ वेरी गुड इनिशिएटिव बाय द गवर्नमेंट। बिकॉज क्या है ना कि यहाँ पे अभी गाँव में हमारे पास कोई ऐसी सेवा नहीं है जो लोगों का यहाँ पे क्लीनिंग के लिए कोई आता है, या फिर यहाँ से कोई गार्बेज उठा के लेके जाता है, ऐसा कोई वो नहीं है। तो हम खुद ही करते हैं और उसके बाद हम इसको सेग्रीगेट करके सेग्रीगेशन सेंटर में लेके जाते हैं। सो अभी ये आज है 18th ऑफ सितंबर, आज मैं यहाँ पे कर रही हूँ। उसके बाद 30th ऑफ सितंबर को मेरा फरका पंचायत के हे विलेज में हो रहा है मेरा ये क्लीनिंग अवेयरनेस और क्लीनिंग ड्राइव चलेगा वहाँ पे। तो ऐसे ही ये जो अभियान है ये ऑल ओवर द यूटी लद्दाख में चल रहा है। तो ये हर पंचायत में चलेगा, हर गाँव में चल रहा है 15 से लेके 2 अक्टूबर तक। तो थैंक यू वेरी मच।
ये बहुत अच्छा आपने बताया, और मेरे ख्याल से कि हमको नेक्स्ट स्टेप इसके अंदर लेना चाहिए कि टूरिस्ट के ऊपर हम कैसे कुछ पाबंदी लगाएं, ताकि वो गार्बेज जो है वो भी कम करें, ताकि आपका काम उसमें भी आधा हो जाए। क्योंकि जो टूरिज्म से, ओवर टूरिज्म से जो गार्बेज निकल रहा है उसको भी आप लोग साफ कर रहे हैं, तो उसको भी हमको एक स्ट्रैटेजी बनानी होगी या उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करना चाहिए कि टूरिज्म जो है वो अपना गार्बेज कम से कम फैलाए।
पर हाँ, इसके लिए तो अभी कोई एज आई थिंक कोई
one step at a time.
Yeah.
One step at a time.
I just want to request all the tourists to just be environment friendly,
ecotourist,
and ecotourist,
correct.
and be responsible towards the nature, and जो भी अपना गार्बेज है वो या फिर डस्टबिन में डालिए, या फिर ऐसा कहीं आप जाते हैं, कितना हमारा लद्दाख जो बहुत सुंदर जगह है वहाँ पे आके बस गार्बेज ना फैलाइए, और जो भी गार्बेज आपका आता है वो डस्टबिन में फेंकिए। बस यही कहना चाहूंगी टूरिस्ट से। तो बस
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your mic is off, I think.
Okay, so I'm moving back to the slideshow, friends. Yeah, so how photographers can help? Photographers themselves can travel, behave in a responsible manner, of course. Photographers need to know all this to be ecotourists, and they can help in cleanup drives. And they can take a day off during their tour and say, I'm going to go to a village and strategize it beforehand. And that's what we're going to do in the 2 tours that Khushboo is going to lead sometime in April, and she's going to take you to some really, really delightful places called Homestays, and she's going to take you to Oletopo, and she's going to take you to Ule, and which are snow leopard conservancies. And Homestays, according to me, is still extremely pristine village with old houses, with old people, in their traditional dresses. And then go there in off season. You don't have to worry about getting there in June and July and August when it's absolutely crowded. I'll tell you, it's no better than Chandni Chowk right now, the way it is. And the government needs to know how to control these, this over tourism there. So over to you, Khushboo. Please take over and then tell people more about it. Friends, if you've got questions, keep putting them in the chat box so that we can answer those later.
Thank you, Mohit. Very happy to be part of this insightful webinar. In this webinar, I hope to share some key points related to the Ladakh photo tour. To make this tour productive, I'll be guiding and helping you by improving your skills on photography, which could be related to how you can compose your images in different scenarios, how you can compose them, how you can expose them in different light conditions, and most importantly, to structure your understanding and illustrate the concepts and techniques which can help the participants make creative images and have an enriching experience. So moving to this slide, how we do it matters. Absolutely. Traveling teaches us a certain aspect of life that we cannot learn inside the 4 walls. Such focused workshops and tours can transform the perception towards life. Many species belonging to the Trans-Himalayan belt have been declared as endangered. The thirst for wildlife seems to be growing in recent years. We can collectively help in its protection, sustenance, and promotion for sure, and minimize any negative impact. Let's be mindful towards our ethical behavior when photographing nature. The people of Ladakh are spiritual, and the traditional values still breathe in the air. We must respect and appreciate these uniqueness, for which we shall take the whole journey to begin with. Travel portraits are a great way to provide glance into the local culture. So we should be conscious before taking any such photos, and we should be aware of exploiting someone's living condition just for the sake of art. In places like monasteries, sober behavior, silence, and simple clothing can be considered as a sign of respect. Though Ladakh might seem similar to the common cultured places, however, the villages are still traditional, and especially while visiting these monasteries and places of worship, we are expected to observe utmost sober behavior and silence. This is a herd in the Ladakh landscape. How to ethically photograph people. People of Ladakh are camera shy. So we need to understand that we need to interact with them at first place and then act accordingly. We need to see that, we do not invade any person's privacy. And the most importantly, we should be compliant if a person objects of their photos taken. Just delete and apologize to them. Visit the local stores, promote, express gratitude towards people, be mindful towards the customs of the local culture. So that will help us definitely to, create good images and definitely enjoy the trip.
I want to share something here. May I?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So when you're talking about shopping,
Yes.
when you go through Le Bazaar,
Yes.
the ladies are sitting there. So then they're knitting and they're selling vegetables and fruits and things like that, right?
Absolutely.
So one granny who's probably 80 years or more was sitting there. And she started to talk to me. And I said, look, I want these apples. And she says, I plucked them today and they're really fresh. I said, okay, fantastic. And I said, I want half a kilo. She says, okay, but half a kilo is like they're small apples. So what are you going to do with half a kilo? I said, half a kilo is good for me. I want to eat apples. And that's good. That's my dinner. And then she tells me, she says, okay, half a kilo is 75 rupees. I said, that's fine. I paid her 75. And she says, don't eat all of them. You'll have stomach problems. So have half of them. And we got around to chatting. And she says, I'm here every day, not because I want to sell apples. I'm just here because I want to see that all my people who are selling things here are doing well. So she was there not just because she wanted to sell apples and make money. She was there only to see that her family members and the village people and people who come there are doing okay. I mean, it was a heart-wrenching conversation that I had with her. Yeah, go ahead.
That's a beautiful story to share. Thanks, Mohit. How to ethically photograph wildlife. There's nothing wrong in wanting to enjoy the nature and photograph wildlife. But during the tour, let's be good role models, and by practicing a few simple steps, definitely Mohit has mentioned a couple of them earlier in his presentation, and also there are a few listed down here. But during the tour, we'll be definitely following even more steps, where as we move along with the tour, we'll have to be very conscious about it. And one thing is certain, that if the right-minded photographers band together, and if we are simply aware of the issues, we might make many other photographers think carefully on their next outing, and maybe they modify their behavior appropriately on their tours. So the most important thing here, which I feel we all should be concerned about, is we should not harm the subject in pursuit of getting the perfect shot. The habitat is very crucial, and the species are the wildlife species are the ones which are found only in Ladakh. So let's enjoy the nature responsibly. That is one appeal to all the participants who are interested and looking forward to join the tour or even traveling to Ladakh. The wildlife, that's how we should be, we coexist with the nature. Photography in Ladakh. While on field, soaking the delight of the beautiful place and making images of it is very exciting. But showing these images to somebody a few days later should better be of a great storytelling capability. With my years of experience on the field practicing photography, I'll be guiding you to compose such images using different techniques and accessories where you can, take back home and cherish them always. Different dazzling portraits, stunning landscapes, unique wildlife, cultural pictures from the holy monasteries, the monks playing around, and many more images under expert guidance is a big takeaway from the ultimate photo tour to Ladakh. This tour is designed to maximize the photography opportunities while exploring the diverse colors of land and to make the tour photographically productive. The guidance on interesting details and expertise on understanding the light better under different circumstances, like the low light scenarios, the panoramic shots, the silhouetted shots, the slow shutter images of the flowing water. All these offer participants with rewarding experiences and great photo opportunities in the high altitude of Himalayas. Photograph wildlife that can be seen nowhere else in the country. Witness an ancient culture that has kept its traditions alive. Lastly, I would like to quote, "Visualization is the key." Someone has rightly said, and I believe in it too, to me, photography is about finding something interesting in an ordinary place. I've found it has very little to do with the things that you see and everything to do with the way you see them. So this is one key which I would like you all to, keep in mind while visiting Ladakh. This is
one point, Khushboo.
Yes.
Also, as you go along, you could, you could strategize. Let's say every 2 hours when you stop and you see, okay, this is a great photo stop. You don't have to get off the bus or the car and start running towards the subject and then you get out that subject or you get so close to it. No, strategize.
Yes,
Say,
absolutely.
this is how we're going to do it, right? Seek help from the local people, the driver, right?
Yes.
And understand that the slowness is the key to a great photograph. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So your
Absolutely.
slow approach. Yeah. So
Yes,
even over dinner when you're sitting and then you have people sitting around and then say, let's strategize tomorrow morning. Yeah. For tomorrow morning. Let's just go ahead. Have you charged your cameras? Have you done this? Have you done that? But more than that, discuss with the host, who will guide you.
Yes.
Do this, but don't do this. Do this,
Yes.
but don't do this. And then you will be in good hands.
Yes, absolutely. The locals, the drivers, the tribes there are we need to respect them and they are of great help to us. And also, like when you said about strategizing, I feel there are many places in Ladakh which are beautiful which can be beautifully captured during the sunsets, and there are few places which are great to be visited during the sunrise time. So we'll definitely have to strategize that and pre-plan, and then move ahead with our day. Like this is one of the beautiful landscape with a dramatic blue sky of the lake. Let's try to when we include people in the portrait, in the landscape photography as well, it adds a lot of sense to the picture. The landscape with the golden sky. This is one of my favorite part when when we see the roads, the roads that are flowing through in the shape of the snake through the mountains. So this is one of the most interesting part to be photographed while in Ladakh. The snow-capped mountains, when we reach the high altitude places, we get to see the snow-capped mountains with the colorful flags blowing in the wind. This is very interesting. This Ladakh has Ladakh is very rich in culture. So this is the traditional Ladakhi kitchen. The utensils, how they are placed, it's beautifully. While we visited, this was a beautifully decorated with all the utensils planned and kept in place, and it is a very beautiful kitchen from Ladakh. Definitely the famous Shanti Stupa and the statue of Buddha, the Maitri Buddha statue from Ladakh. Mohit, would you like to take ahead with the presentation?
Yes. So now we're just typing some of the places that people will visit during your tour. So I'm just sort of finishing typing.
Okay.
And people want to know. So while we go through the landscape, there is a huge possibility of sighting some of these mammals and birds, for which we will be taking special stops and looking for them, and then also engaging local guides to track them down whenever it's possible. But it's not, these tours are not largely only wildlife centric tours. These are photography tours to highlight the sensitive ecology of Ladakh and how we need to tread in these areas. So snow leopard, Pallas's cat, Bharal, which is blue sheep, which is a favorite prey for snow leopard, on the mountain slopes. And then, well, I'm just showing you this photo. This is not, we're not going to be visiting this area, but we may see some during the tour. Himalayan marmots, they're very interesting animals and very, very, they're delightful to see when you see them. And you can wait and photograph them, with patience. Tibetan wolf, not Himalayan wolf, Tibetan wolf, highly endangered. Black-necked cranes, again, very endangered species of bird. And Brantford snowfinch, Then you have white-browed warbler, a highly sought-after bird that you'd be able to see. Brian is here, so he had some really good photos of this bird. I think it might be Brian's or Deepak's photo, if I'm not wrong. And many bird watchers come to Ladakh, and this is one of their top wish list birds, that they want to see. And white-winged redstart. And then you have Tibetan snowcock, which you can find in high mountain passes. And then lots of such shots, This is an Ule in a homestay where I was. And that, you can easily spend many hours in and around the homestead itself, photographing hundreds of things. So it's limitless. The opportunities are absolutely limitless. So this was the end of the slideshow. It is not doing any justice to Ladakh because the time is short and we can only do this much in 1 hour to give you an overview, to give you some insight. But this is not even a tip of an iceberg. And you have millions of other dimensions to talk about. If you've got questions, please put in these questions. I'm not sure if we can answer every question, but we'll try and do as much as possible. If you've got questions, please go ahead and ask, friends. And those people who have left halfway or attended it later will also get the replay link tomorrow morning in your email inbox. So feel free to do it. There is one link that has been posted here by Fareen, which is an upcoming tours and events. When you click that, you'd be able to see that there are tours of Ladakh photography. Ladakh, the first week of April is when Khushboo is going to lead the tour. It's a 1-week tour to Homestays, Ule and Oli Topo, and she finishes in Leh. And the second tour starts a week later to Pangong So Nubra, which again finishes in Leh. And then the first tour restarts in the 3rd week. So those people who want to start with the first week and then move on to the 2nd week can do that. If you just want to do the first week, you can skip after that. Or you want to do only the 2nd part, you can do that. Or you can do 2nd and the 3rd part. So we've got this combination. So 3 weeks, we've got 2 tours, 1 tour twice and 1 tour once. So that's how we're going to do it. And thank you, Puneet. Thank you for putting your comments and appreciating what you just saw. And these are photo tours. So they're not specifically wildlife centric, but they've got wildlife component, and they are story centric, people centric, landscape centric, ecology centric tours that we're going to be doing. But if you've got other questions which are not tour related, please go ahead and ask, and I'm happy to answer. We've got, and then if you've got any other ideas or any other dimensions to Ladakh, or you want to talk about it, please feel free to ask. Do we need oxygen? It depends what your lung power is. Although we will have some oxygen handy during the tour. So if you want to carry, if you want to be sure that there's enough oxygen, yes, there will be oxygen available at all places. So there's no problem with that. And I'm glad that my friends are here today to listen to this webinar and to watch this webinar slideshow. And really honored that you all are here. Thank you very much. So I think, Gaurav, shall we just call it off? Khushboo?
Yes.
Do you have something?
Yeah, I think if anyone has any questions, they can probably email us or get in touch with us.
Correct. Because this link has everything.
Yeah.
Out.
Yes, anything related to photography or to the equipments, what do we carry, how should we get prepared, photographically perspective, also with the mentally per se. So we can feel free to ask us.
And then Brian, a friend who's just posted here, is from England, and he did a trip last year to Ladakh. Brian's report is absolutely brilliant. So Gaurav, just ensure that all the people who've been here, they also get the link to Brian's
Sure.
report. Brian did a beautiful report on his trip last year to Ladakh and to Kashmir, and Gaurav will send it out to all of you to enjoy reading that, and then also send all the links of the tours that they may want to undertake, or any of your colleagues or any of the people want to undertake that tour. Thank you, friends. Have a great time. Thank you. Namaste. Bye bye.